Make sure that you can see me nice and big. You've got space to stretch out. And you guys are all muted, so that's all fine. So we're going to begin seated today. I'm going to come onto my knees and I'm going to pop my block just underneath my hips. Now, if you want to sit cross-legged, that's totally fine as well. Just finding a nice tall spine. And once you've settled in, just allow your shoulders to fall down the back. Grow tall through the crown of the head. And then when you're ready, you can just shut down the eyes. And just taking these next few moments just really to tap into how you're feeling energetically, physically, emotionally. And you might need to take a few sighs out the mouth. And as you're checking in, I'll just get you to place your attention or your focus with your eyes closed just towards the space between your eyebrows. And it just gives you a focus point here. And so just bringing your attention into your breath. Noticing how you're breathing this afternoon. Whether it's short, shallow breaths. Maybe you're taking slow, long belly breaths. Or you might be taking somewhere in between. The next time you inhale, I want you to lengthen it for a count of 3. And then as you exhale for a count of 5. You'll do that again. You'll breathe in for a count of 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just taking it at your own pace. Just finding some stillness throughout the body and throughout the mind. Just taking 2 more rounds of breath here. Once you've finished that last exhale, just let the breath come back to its natural state. Notice if anything's changed. And when you're ready, just gently crack the eyes open ajar. And from here, we're just going to pop our hands on top of our thighs if they're not already. As you breathe in, just take your eye gaze forwards and up to the sky, open through the chest. And then as you exhale, begin to round, bringing your head in towards your belly. Inhale as you lengthen, open through the chest, the collarbones broad. And then exhale, round. And just keeping this flowing as you invite the breath in. See if you can flow one movement, one breath. Shoulder blades fall down the back. Belly lifts. And then spread the shoulder blades away as you exhale. Let's just do 2 more here in your own time. Exhale. Find yourself a neutral spine. So if you're sitting like me, you'll want to feel for your tailbone lengthening down rather than sort of popping through the ribs and the chest. We'll take our arm up and over. Bottom hand will be resting down and then lift up. Press your hip away, but ground down through your hip bones. If you're on a block like me and you can flatten your hand, if that feels okay, then do so. Otherwise, you can always be up on your fingertips. Floating on back up, we'll take it over to the other side. Feeling for a nice softness throughout the belly, throughout the sides of the body. And then coming all the way back up. So if you're on a block, just pop it out of the way. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Just make sure that your hands are stacked over the shoulders and then tuck the toes under. So knees are directly underneath the hips. Belly draws in and then just hover the knees off the ground for a second and then come up into your downward facing dog. So if this is your first shape, your first downward dog shape of the day, just enjoy, indulge, feel free to pedal through the feet. If this is too strong for the wrists or for the body tonight, you're just going to come back into your 4-point kneel. Otherwise, stay up in your downward dog. Tailbone will lift up towards the ceiling and stretch up out of your shoulders. Give your head a little bit of a shake just to make sure that there's no holding or looking around. Little nod, a little shake. Draw your shoulder blades down and away from your ears, and then spread through your 10 fingers so that there is a space between each finger. Take a breath in here, in through the nose. And then as you exhale, drop the knees. Inhale as you take your eye gaze forwards, cow pose. And then exhale, child's pose. You might have to stretch the arms long. Send your breath to the back of the rib cage. You might be able to even send it all the way down towards your sacrum. Inhale forwards up onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes, hover the knees, and then downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the heels up. Come onto your tippy toes. Exhale, drop the knees. Inhale forwards, cow pose. And then exhale, child's pose. Take a breath in as you float back up onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Float up onto the heels, onto the toes, breath in. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, child's pose. We're just going to flow through a couple of rounds like this. Take it as slow as you need, moving with your own breath. One movement, one breath. Exhale, child's pose. Float up onto the toes as you breathe in. Exhale, lower with control. Make sure shoulders are moving over wrists. Inhale to cow. Exhale, child's pose. Let's do one more round together. Really enjoy that nice stretch at the back of the legs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower with control. Exhale, child's pose. Just take a moment here in child's pose. Send your arms to the top corners of your mat so that just taking a little more pressure off the shoulders here. So making this Y shape with our arms, we're not completely loading up through the front of the shoulders. You might want to just tilt the head from side to side and maybe massage the forehead here. And from here, just walk your hands over towards the right-hand side of the mat. So reaching long, and then place your head back down onto the mat. So stretching through the hip, should be the left side of the hip. You're reaching to the right. With each exhale, you might be able to sink your hips a little closer to your heels. And then walk your hands through center, breath in, and then take it over to the other side. Really nice. Bring your hands back onto the mat and then bring yourself forward. From here, bring the leg that's closest to the camera. So if you're going the same way as me, the leg that's closest to the camera, just shoot it out nice and long, and without lifting or opening through the hips. I just want you to float the leg. So just notice here if the belly has dropped, I want you to lift up tall through the shoulders and through the belly. So we're just going to tap it down and then lift it up. Little tap down and lift up. So press firmly your shin into the mat, the supporting leg, and just notice if one hand is taking more pressure than the other. Find an equal balance between both. We're going to lift and lower for 3, for 2, for 1. Bend at the knee now, flex the foot. We're just going to draw a couple of circles. So with the knee, go in one direction. And then reverse. See if you can keep your breath here nice and steady. Nice. So from here, the leg that's lifted, I want you to take it over and hook it around the second bent leg. So almost as if you were sitting down and you had both legs crossed. Now you might have to walk your hands over a little bit and then begin to sit your hips back. It feels a little awkward. Your front knee will lift slightly. And the more you sit your hips back, press your hips towards the back wall, you'll start to feel it in that opposite hip. So the knee that's lifted, you'll be able to hopefully feel up through the glute. As if you were almost going to sit right back on it, but keep stretching long. And then folding over that top knee there. Take a final breath in here. And then bring yourself back onto the mat. Hands will come back shoulder distance. And then lift that knee and then pop it back down. So we'll take it straight to the other side. Lengthen your second leg. Lift it up. Again, I can see myself. I don't know if you can see yourself, but I can see my hip wanting to tilt open. Square those hips off. Press evenly into your hands, firmly into the mat. Stay strong through the outsides of the arms. Really hug them in towards one another. Belly draws in. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Last 2 here. And then 1, bend at the kneecap. And then flex the foot. Let's draw some circles. Just take it nice and slow here. I find when we go fast, it's quite easy to just lose all control and activation through the body. And then just reverse those circles back. Neck is nice and long. And then lift it up, take it over, cross it over the second leg now. Walk your hands a little bit over. You might come off the mat and that's fine. And then start to sit your hips back. If you need, you can bring your hands closer towards you. Otherwise, you're going to get a little bit more here. Just notice if you're quite tight in one side. I know I am. Oh, yes. Very, very tight. Release the head. Stay with the breath. And then coming all the way up, walk your hands onto the mat, then lift that knee and then pop it down. From here, tuck the toes underneath, downward facing dog. And then walk your hands towards the back of the mat, so towards your feet. Keep your heels and your feet hip width distance, and then just heel toe the feet out slightly. If you've got a block or if you've got some pillows, now's the time to grab them. You're going to pop them just underneath your hips and then find your squat. So a few options depending on how open you are through the hips and how much of a stretch you're ready for. So you'll bring your palms to meet. Tailbone will be drawing down to the mat. And then find a really nice long spine. Belly button draws in. Stay open through the chest. Elbows are pressing out into the inner thigh. And then use the strength of your inner thighs to hug the elbows. Pelvic floor is slightly lifted here. Two breaths here. Inhale for length. Exhale. Release the hands, palms will face forwards, and then slightly lift the hips to the sky. Heel toe the feet underneath the hips again. And then from here, roll on up to stand. Just take it nice and slow, stack it bone by bone. Coming all the way up to standing, we'll take ourselves into the middle of the mat, grab a hold of your block. So I've got my block on my highest setting. If you've got a book or anything, you can use as well. So take your right foot across left, and then we're going to find a nice fold here. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. You're going to press your hips away and up to the sky. The block is there just to bring the mat a little closer. You can pop it on any setting you like. So you'll start to feel a stretch up the right hand side. See if you can fold over the thigh, but without rounding. Shoulders will want to hitch up by your ears, but see if you can just draw them away. Stay with the breath. Final inhale. Exhale. Let that go. So release that. So take it out nice and wide, and then we'll take it over to the second side. So make sure now the left foot comes in front, crosses over. Might have to shift your block over as well. Feel for your sit bones spreading to the back wall. Press firmly into the 4 points of the feet, 2 up the top, 2 at the bottom. And inner arches slightly lift. We're here for 3, for 2, 1. Take your feet wide. Take your block with you. I'm going to walk all the way over to the right hand side. So pop the block right up at the top of the mat, and we're going to come into our high lunge. So with your front leg, just make sure knee and ankle are stacked. With this one, we're actually going to walk the foot out to the outside of the mat. So we're in more of a wide lunge, our lizard lunge. Now with the block here up at the top, you've got a few options. Option 1, you can pop your hands onto the block, find length through the spine, and then press your hip forward. Option 2, you can actually bring your elbows down. This is a little bit of a more deeper option. So front on, you'll be looking like this. Knee will hug in towards your shoulder. Pick your poison. Try stay with it for at least 5 breaths. And just know that whatever your body is ready for tonight is always going to be different. Tomorrow, yesterday, just listening to what your body needs tonight. Let's take 2 long conscious breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. Final breath here together. Nice. So the foot that's forwards, I want you to take your opposite hand to that foot. So if you've got left foot, it's right hand. You're going to twist in towards the knee or up to the ceiling. So reach it nice and long. Separate the fingertips, energy through the hands. Take a big breath in here. And then exhale, pop your hand back onto that block, lift the back knee, high lunge, and then jump the leg back in. We're in our squat. Maybe popping your hips down. We're only going to be here for a moment. Finding your squat, it can be high or low. Placing your hands back onto the block, lift up through the hips, and then step your second leg back. So if your left foot was forwards, your right foot now needs to be forwards. Pop the back knee down and then come into your lizard lunge. So remember, knee and ankle are stacked. This time it's actually going to be on the outer side, the outer edge of the mat. Grab a hold of any props, either elbows or hands. Notice what you notice on the second side. Breath is nice and steady. Final breath here. And then we'll take it in for our twist. So the opposite hand to the foot that is forward. Spin in towards that leg and then rotate open, finding a twist. Take a full inhale. Exhale, pop that hand down, lift that back knee, spark up the quad, and then jump the leg in, find your squats. Knees are wide, spine is long. We're here for one full inhale. Exhale it all out. Palms forwards, tilting the hips all the way up. Heel toe the feet in, and then find your forward fold. Interlacing the arms, or interlacing the hands, I should say, grabbing a hold of the elbows. Any sort of forward fold that you need. Take a little sway from side to side. Release the arms down to the ground and then roll on up to stand. As you come up, head will come last. Sweep the arms up and over, pull belly button in, and then exhale, dive forwards. Gentle bend through the knees. Take a breath in. And then exhale, step your right foot back. Drop the knee. We're coming again into our first side for lizard lunge. Heel toe the front leg out to the outer edges. Now this time we're coming straight into our twist. Reach it up. We're working towards the front knee, so not away. And then begin to sweep your top arm to the back wall. And then sweep it back around to the front. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale forwards. Pop your hand down and then heel toe your front leg back onto the mat. Your hands will now be framing your foot. Grab a hold of your block, pop it to the side if you need, and then we're going to sit our hips back, coming into our half split. Flex the toe. You've got your block or your props here if you need to help you up to fold forwards. It's always just there for some extra support. You don't have to use it. If you feel more comfortable folding here with your palms or your fingertips connected, that's all good. Flex your toes right up towards your face. And see if you can plug that hip right back into the socket. Full breath here. Exhale. Walk your hands back to the front. Now a little transition here. This leg that's forwards, slide it straight back. Send it nice and long. Now we're going to spin onto the side, coming into our modified side plank. The left leg will probably be nice and long if you're doing the same as me. Reach your fingertips up to the sky. And then keep reaching your arms forwards. Reach, 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 reach. And then circle it down and around. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale as you circle it through across yourself. And let's do it one last time. I like to do things in threes. And exhale. Beautiful. Bring your hand back onto the mat. Square your hips. This long leg, send it forward. What we're going to do is we're going to lift that back knee again, spark up through the quad, and then find your Malasana, yogi squats. We're going to take it straight to the other side. So lift the hips and then send your left leg long. Right leg will be in front. Drop that back knee. If you're getting muddled or confused with your rights and lefts, just make sure you do both sides, please. Otherwise, you're going to be nice and strong on one side. All right, coming straight into your twist. Revolved, modified crescent lunge. Find space through the shoulders and the collarbones. Start to reach your fingertips to the back of your mats and then circle it down forwards and then back up. Exhale. Last one. Once you bring it all the way back down, pop your hand onto the mat, heel toe your front leg onto the mat, square through the hips, and then press it back, half split. Imagining you've got a pole just resting at the crease of your hip. You're folding up and over. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then exhale, fold forwards. One more just like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Make your way to the front of the mat. Press down firmly through your hands. Front leg will shoot straight back. Lengthen through the heel. And then when you're ready, we're going to spin onto the second side. Just make sure bottom shoulder sets back and down, so no hunching through the shoulders. As you breathe in, your top arm will reach forwards. Enjoy that nice stretch through the side body. And then exhale, circle it forwards, up to the sky. Two more like this. Find your own pace with your breath. Last one. Pop your hand back onto the mat, square your hips. The leg that's long, send it straight through. Lift the back knee and then little counts forwards. Popping your block at the front and then send your hips to the sky, forward fold, heel toe your feet back onto the mat. As you fold, send your sit bones right up to the sky. tilt all your weight forwards onto the front of your foot and then shift your weight back. The toes might lift as you shift back. Your heels might lift as you move forwards. Just playing around with weight bearing. And then finding somewhere in between. Pop your hands towards your shins and then take a halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Rolling on up to standing. As you breathe in, take it nice and slow. Sweep the arms to the sky. And then exhale, bring your hands down by your side. So from here, I'll get you to shift into your left side. Pick your right foot up. And then see if you can send that leg straight behind you. You're going to come and parallel the toes. So legs are a little bit wider, but not too wide that you go for the splits. So if you need, you can readjust to face me and then just grab a hold of your block, pop it in the middle. So we're really working into the legs, especially with the hips tonight. So it's always nice just to use this block, especially for what we're going to be doing next. So little rotation now through the feet. So toes will be facing to the outer edges of the corners. And then begin to just bend into your left knee. Right knee will stay straight, but just watch that your left knee is tracking over the second and third toe. If you wanted to, you can take it a little deeper, potentially even sitting your hips towards the mat. If that's not for you, you're just going to stay up with a nice long spine. This is our Skandasana, our skater pose. And it all makes sense very soon as to why it's called a skater pose. Press your hips towards the back wall and then little lift through the belly. Begin to straighten through both legs and then shifting over to the other side. You can take your block with you, or if you're comfortable, just walking through your fingertips. Begin to sit now into your right side. Watch out for that knee. It's not tracking inwards, but working its way out. Inhale, walk your hand through center and then take it to the other side. So like a little ice skater, we'll be taking it from side to side. If your legs are feeling quite warm like mine, you can come a little deeper with each time. Take a breath in as you flow through center. Exhale as you come a little deeper. So we've got, after this one full round. Inhale through center. Exhale. Last one here. Bring your hands into center. Now parallel the feet to face me. And then bringing your hands directly underneath your face. We'll come for a twist, rotating up to one side. Doesn't matter which way. Pressing your palm firmly either into the mat or onto your block. And then bring your hand all the way down. Inhale, swap over to the other side. And then bringing your hand all the way down. From here, just bring your feet underneath you, heel toe, just so that they're underneath your hips. And then roll on up to stand. Sweep the arms up and over. And then grab a hold of your left wrist. We're going to take it up and over. Press your hips away from you. And then bring it on back. Swapping over, grab a hold of the second wrist. Come up and over, reach long. And then bring it up. Let's do that one more time each side. Lift and lengthen. Stretch and pull towards one side. Last time here. Fabulous. Release and then come all the way down. We'll just check the time. Fabulous. Cool. Grab a hold of your strap or your TheraBand, whatever you've got close by. And we'll come to lay down onto our back. Just make sure that you've got room next to you as well. We'll be taking the legs out to the side. So let's place our right leg into the strap. Make sure that your hips are quite square so there's no hitching or lifting up through the hip. Right leg's in the strap. And then from here, all we're going to do is just gently pull the leg forwards. If you need, you can keep a very small bend through the knees. If you've got a stretchy band like mine, you might even want to do some little bends, little stretches. Nice active exercise to lengthen the back of the legs. It's quite nice. Why does that keep dinging? It's very strange. Last 3 breaths here. And if your leg isn't bending with each exhale, you might be able to pull it a little bit closer. And then placing now the straps into your left hand. Keep that gentle bend through the knee and then take the leg across the body. So your right hip will lift. And then see if you can bring the foot all the way across. I'm going to have to wriggle over. The foot can rest quite comfortably on the mat. And then stretching your right arm nice and long. If you need to bend your knee, please bend your knee. But for those who are keeping it straight, probably be able to feel it becomes a little bit more intense through both the outer hip and maybe through the inner hip as well. Bringing the leg all the way back up, swapping hands, and then placing your left hand on top of your hip bone, your left hip, and then take that leg out to the side. So your left hand is coming onto your hip just to make sure that there's no tilting or rolling around through the pelvis. So the leg will come out maybe to a 45-degree angle rather than boom, straight out. Flex the foot and then bring it on back. From here, simply swap over to the other side. Square off through the hips. Try to stay nice and open and soft through the chest, the collarbones, and the neck. Guiding this foot now towards your face without forcing or pulling, no yanking. A little bend through the knee, maybe straightening, just moving through a couple of these if you need. And so the leg that is now long, so the right leg, which is down the mat, try to keep that active as well. So maybe flexing through the foot, just so that we aren't completely letting go through the pelvis. Last 3, 2, and 1. Take it across into the opposite hand and then let that leg fall over. Toes will touch the ground completely. Bend the knee as much as you need. Reach out long with your left arm. And then coming all the way back. Swapping hands, right hand to right hip, and then take that leg out for a little walk, not too far. I'm lucky I've got a wall here, so I'm cheating. I'm resting it on that. Use your breath to pull that leg back in, and then release your foot out of the strap. Pop your strap over to the side, and then bringing your feet, close towards your glutes. Knees are hip width distance. Take your arms down by your side, and then roll on up. Tuck the pelvis under, just coming up onto the back of the shoulders. Your neck is nice and light, no pressure on your neck whatsoever. Take a breath in up at the top, and then exhale, press through the outer hips and the thighs as you roll down. Roll on up. You'll be able to float the arms up and over if that feels quite nice for you. And then as you exhale, roll down, float the hands back down. Breath in to prepare. Scoop and drive the hips to the sky as you exhale. Breath in, little sip of air up at the top, and then melt the spine. Upper back, mid back, lower back. We've just got 2 more just like that. Should feel quite nice from the spine. Last one. Once you come here, cross your right leg over your left. So again, just how we were sitting on them earlier. And then with your right crossed over your left, let the knees now drop over to the left. You want to try and let go completely through the legs. You might be able to feel the stretch through the thigh or the right thigh, and then maybe also around lower back. As you breathe in, float the legs back up. Uncross the leg and then take it over to the other side. Without shifting through the hips, just let the legs tilt over, dropping now over to the right. Bringing your legs back up through center. Bringing your knees right into your chest and curl the head and the shoulders up. Squeeze yourself into a little tiny ball. And then rock and roll up and down the spine. Have a couple of goes. It's a nice little massage through the spine. And then once you have done that, come all the way to a seated position. Bringing your legs out or we'll go right foot out. And then stretch your hand down towards the ankle. Just being aware that the knee isn't rolling in. So knee and ankle are in a line. Stretch it nice and long. Try and get your forearm connecting onto your shin. If not, you've got pillows, you've got blocks, you've got lots of props. Take your arm up and over as if you're reaching out for a big hug. And then see if you can find rotation. So bottom rib is spiraling up towards the sky. And here we're focusing on our breath into the sides or the top of the ribs here. And then top arm will float down just towards hip height. See if you can relax your neck in towards your ear. Again, so through underneath the ribs here, rather than crunching down or dumping down. Little lift, keep stretching through those fingertips. From here, just turn your neck, turn your eye gaze down towards that bottom leg, and then slowly begin to bring yourself up. Take it really nice and gentle on your head. Head will come up nice and last. And then take it across. Right arm to left knee. Sit up nice and tall. Imprint your sit bones into the mat. Rotating forwards, spin back around. If you've got a pillow or a block, pop it in front of you and then bring your elbows down. So just a little fold here. Flip the palms up and then release the head down. Again, being mindful of this knee of your right leg that's sticking out. Make sure that this isn't happening and keep opening through the hip. And gently start to bring yourself all the way to a seated position. Just bring that leg in and then swapping over. So just adjusting here. Sit bones are nice and level. Reach your arm down. Use any props or anything you need just to stick underneath wherever you need. Once you've grabbed a hold of an ankle or a toe or a sock, take that arm right up. Lengthening through both sides of the body. Nice, easy, steady breath. Top arm will float down to hip height. And when you're ready, eye gaze will turn towards the leg that's stretched out. Nice little stretch through the neck there. And then you'll bring yourself all the way up. Head comes nice and last. Take it across the body. And just notice how it feels through the spine here. Bringing it back through center. Find your block or your pillow and then place your elbows down, palms facing up. Release the head down. Take 2 final breaths here. And bringing yourself up to a seated position, finishing how we started. So finding that seated position, whether it was cross-legged, maybe you were kneeling, and just coming to that position. Just taking a moment to let the spine settle. So maybe closing down the eyes again. Roll the shoulders back and down, pull the belly button in slightly, just very gently. Noticing how it feels to breathe, if there's space through the body. And then just cracking the eyes open when you're ready. Sweep the arms up to the sky as you take a full breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Inhale through the nose, big breath in. Open the mouth, exhale. Roll the shoulders back and down. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely night, Monday night. Let me know how you went, and I will speak to you all very shortly.